Hello and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. I'm Gary, this is Chris, and we're here to talk about the upcoming London derby at White Hart Lane. Is it going to happen again? West Ham away to Spurs this coming Saturday. I hope it does. It happened again last year, didn't it, Chris? You were there.
It did, yeah. A fully deserved 2-1 win. I think not. Yeah. Be amazing if we could do it again, though. Don't care how we do it, as long as we get a win, that'd be amazing.
There's nothing quite as good as winning at White Hart Lane, is there? I mean, it feels so good, doesn't it?
Do you know what? Last season, and again, I know we've spoken about this before, but I remember at half time, I think I texted you and I said, this is going to be like a cricket score to Spurs. It was just horrific. I could have easily had seen this. We should have probably been 4-5 down in the first half.
They
But
battered us, didn't they?
they absolutely battered us. It was a horrible game. It was a horrible game. First half was a horrible game, but obviously the end result was fantastic. And I think sometimes when you shithouse a win like that, it just feels so good, particularly against Spurs, who clearly deserved to win that game on the balance of play, with the amount of chances that they had and missed. It's brilliant, though, mate. You can't beat beating Spurs in their own backyard, can you?
Well, I mean, I think the only time that a win weren't quite, as brilliant was when we drew in the last minute when we pulled that game back during COVID, which was just one of the best. It was the best COVID night of all, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Lanzini, unbelievable,
Yeah.
mate. Unbelievable. Yeah. I think it's the biggest shame about that one was there was no fans there in the stadium to see that goal, because it was just such an incredible. Could you imagine the limbs of being there, and that goal going in? Wow, that would have been incredible, wouldn't it?
It just didn't matter though. There were limbs all over the country. We had a Zoom call going. I was dancing in my shed. Oh, it was brilliant. It was so good. It was so good. That's the sort of stuff. If you were to write a script about a football match, if you were like a film script, that's a bit unbelievable with his twist at the end where he scores the most unbelievable goal. I mean, it was just perfect, wasn't it? Perfect.
Well, you could try that. I don't know, more than 100 times, and he'd be lucky if he gets that once, right? I mean, it's just it's perfect. I mean, top bins. I think it scraped the corner as well. I think it scraped the crossbar as well, didn't it? Right.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it did.
The postage stamp job. But yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have been at that game. Obviously, I was watching it on the box, but bloody hell, mate. Yeah, if that would have been, if you would have been in the ground watching that go in, oh, what an experience that'd be. You'd never forget it, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
Anyway, but wow, what a comeback.
So I think that win at White Hart Lane last year was the first one we'd won there since the one that I went to, which was the Antonio win, the first game.
Yeah, the 1-0 win. Yeah,
if I'm right, I might be right, I might be wrong, but I think it was.
We also did beat him in the I think it was a League Cup, didn't we?
That was at Wembley, wasn't it?
Was that Wembley? Can't remember.
Yeah, we beat him at Wembley, didn't we? Okay, that was Todd Bonner scored. Do you remember?
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah,
he leapt like a salmon.
Yeah.
But every player knows, or every player knew how much the Spurs game meant to West Ham fans. And I mean, forget Arsenal and all that. I mean, it's we don't like them very much, but Spurs, it's always Spurs. And no matter how good Spurs have been ever, must have really always pissed them off that they could still come up unstuck against us, no matter how shit we happen to be at the time, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the London derby, girl. London derbies, and I think the ones with Tottenham over the years, there've been some incredible games. I mean, I look back on some of the games, some of which we have unfortunately lost, but they've always been proper edgy seat games, right? There's been so many that you could talk about, whether it's the 4-3 at Upton Park in the Tevez season.
That was the game. That was a game that we lost, right? Mm-hmm. That triggered us staying up, didn't it? That triggered the run.
Well, it did, because it was the game. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was Tevez's first goal for West Ham, and then he went on a run of scoring goals, didn't he? And that's when he started hitting peak form. So that was a massive game. And I think when we lost that one, I think there was a fear of thinking, do you know what? We've played so well, yet we've lost. We could get relegated. But actually, the players completely turned it around and was like, do you know what? No, if we've got that performance in us, we can stay up. And as you say, I think that game was the catalyst in terms of the actual performance itself.
Yeah. So as far as current form goes, I think, Spurs, they lost to Brighton last time out, didn't they? And I think you said they've lost 3 and 5 now. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. So I know they lost to Newcastle. They beat United 3-0. They lost to Arsenal, Newcastle. And obviously they lost to Brighton. Yes, they've lost 3 in the last 5 games. So they're on a bit of a patchy run at the moment. They've had a couple of cup games. They've played in, obviously, the Europa League. I think they played Ferencvaros. I think they won that game, not convincingly, but they won it. But yeah, with regards to league form right now, I think it's a bit 50-50. And I think Yeah, I guess Postecoglou's under a bit of pressure right now. He's not really got a consistent. He's not really been getting consistent results, has he? I think
It's amazing. It's amazing how things can change, because I remember, we did some videos a few weeks ago, and there were a few comments on there. There was one comment in particular that was saying how beautiful the Spurs football is, and it had loads of comments below it, right, agreeing. Oh, it's so heartbreaking seeing that Spurs play this beautiful football, and it's like literally everybody's so fickle around football now. Postecoglou, he ain't doing bad. Let's face it. He's trying to play a good brand of football. I think he's got the courage of his convictions to actually persist. Whether it's gonna, whether he is gonna come unstuck or not, he doesn't actually have a defensive approach in him, does he?
I quite like that though. It's a bit of a throwback for me, because like when you look at games back in the day, particularly games when I remember I was growing up, it was a bit more, I don't want to say gung ho, but certainly a lot more attacking, a lot more exciting. And I think the way he's trying to play at the moment, I like it. It's different, right? It's different to the way the other managers like the Peps of this world are playing. So you've got to give him some credit for that. The fact that he's trying that. I like. I mean, look, if he was at West Ham and he's playing that kind of style, we'd be loving it, wouldn't we? Proper edge of your seat stuff. And we've always said, even if we lose games, well, we know we're going for it. We know we're attacking teams. We can accept defeat as long as we know we're really giving it, give a good account of ourselves. So I think with Spurs, they're doing that, but obviously kind of a bit similar to us in the sense that they do play a very high line. It's very dangerous if they get caught, on the counter attack. That's the big danger for them. But I think attack-wise, they're good. And the one thing you can guarantee with Spurs under Postecoglou is they will always score goals. I mean, they've not. I don't think, I'll have to look at the stats here. I don't think they've not scored in a single game yet this season. They've scored in every single game that they've played, whether that's in the league or whether that's in the cups, European cups, or in the League Cup. So yeah, that's going to be the danger.
I suppose that's a side benefit of playing like that, though, right? I mean, you are setting yourself up to score goals, whereas if you take the antithesis of that, which is David Moyes, you're setting yourself up to not concede goals, which is a bit weird for me. So yeah, I agree with you. I would rather see that form of football. Of course I would. I think what we've got with Lopetegui is kind of a hybrid of the two. We've got the high line. We've got a slightly disorganized attack that looked more organized last time, which was good. It was good to see those front players start linking up together. I think we saw Souček start playing a much more pivotal role in the team. He's been growing as a character. In fact, he's been regressing as a character back to the old Souček, in my opinion. Right? This is the original Souček, version 1 that we're seeing.
But I'd say, let's be honest, only probably for the last couple of games, right? A lot of people have been incredibly negative about Souček, prior to that. I think he's definitely changed. I think, he's improved his performances in the last couple of games. So credit where it's due. And in my opinion, he deserves to start the next game as a result. But yeah, let's kind of take it game by game here and not get too excited, because we know that there is that crap performance in Souček there as well.
Well, there is, especially after an international break, which is what we saw against Fulham, right? It was poor, and also, there is no Füllkrug this weekend. Again, nobody knows where he is. Füllkrug is missing. He is this season's Maxwell Cornet, the German Maxwell Cornet.
Yeah.
Is he? It's a guessing game. Before every match, will he be on the bench? Will he be fit? Nothing's coming out of the club. It just feels like, there was a rumor doing the rounds last week that he had a bad injury and he needed an actual operation for that injury. And nothing has been said or confirmed. They just keep alluding to the fact that maybe he'll be on the bench, maybe he'll be available. There's no solid information coming out. So it just leaves us in no man's land, doesn't it? I think it's Antonio or nothing at the moment. And Antonio, to be fair, did very well in the last game, but in brackets, it was against Ipswich.
Yeah.
But
also, Gal, let's not forget, right? So, with regards to Füllkrug, just going back there, I know there's been rumours that he may be available this weekend, but equally, there's also been a lot of rumours that he won't be available until the United game. Yeah. But I was watching actually on the West Ham website, I think it was yesterday, and they were showing a training video. I didn't see any Füllkrug there, right? So that's obviously a concern. So I can't imagine that he will be available. I know that was Wednesday or whatever, but I don't think that he will be available this weekend. I truly don't. I think the earliest we're going to see him come back, in my opinion, and based off what I've read, I think will be probably the United game on the bench if we're lucky, if he's lucky. And I think with regards to Antonio, yeah, he played well against Ipswich, and on that basis, he absolutely deserves to start. And I guess by default, he will start because we don't really have any other options aside from Ings. But he's also been playing with bloody Jamaica this week as well, mate. So Is that going to impact him this weekend? That's the question.
Well, of course it will impact him. Hopefully not as badly as it did against Fulham, because that was a real exception, because he had a proper late game and he played 2 lots of 90 minutes, didn't he? And then the last game that he played, I think he landed in London about 24 hours before he had to play against Fulham, which is madness, isn't it? It's madness. And I don't know why you don't get some sort of help from the FA. I mean, look, the TV schedule just comes above everything else, doesn't it? But really, every single team in the Premier League, they have their players taken away from them and flown around the world for 2 weeks, and then they have to play first thing on a Saturday. It's mad, really.
It is.
And what's happening with Antonio this week is he's got apparently an extra day compared to what he had last time. So that's at least something. And he's only played 1 out of the 2 games. I think he was a late substitution. He had barely played a minute in the first game. So he ain't played 2 lots of 90 minutes and killed himself.
Well, he got subbed in the second game as well. So I don't know when he got subbed, but I know he was subbed. So yeah, hopefully that's a good sign.
Yeah. So hopefully he won't be in as bad state as he was last time. Paqueta's had a torrid time with the Brazilian national team, hasn't he? I don't know how Caduce's done. I know he's been playing as number 10, at least wearing the number 10. Bowen's had a nice rest. Souček's been playing for the Czech Republic. Alvarez, I think he's been away with Mexico, because they had a game on Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if he played. I've not followed it, in all honesty, but I believe that he was away on international duty. So
yeah. Other than that, I don't think any of our back four are on international duty at all. So Todibo isn't in the current French team, is he?
No, he's been training with the boys this week. I've seen him in the videos. So yeah, no, he's been there. And as you say, I think all of the back four, aside from probably Areola, I think he was on international duty, albeit not playing. He was there with the squad. So our back four, yeah, they've been training all week.
He hardly ever plays for France. He just sits on the bench. They should get him a season ticket. He just goes to watch, doesn't he? He's like the best support.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't remember the last time I see him play for France, but they've got that Mike Maignan guy, right? And he's exceptional, so he's not going to get in ahead of him.
No, that's right. So you've got 2 teams that like to play the high press, and one team like to have a lot of possession, and that's us. We like to have a lot of possession, and we like from the Ipswich game, we're starting to push forward and get a little bit of organisation up front. I don't know how Alvarez and Souček are going to function together, because it didn't function together very well last season, did it?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a difficult one for me. Paqueta for me is still the weak link as well. So I don't know whether we'll see maybe a Soler. I wouldn't rule out him surprising us a little bit, because there was this thing this week of the story came out that said he's got to go back to Brazil around the time of the Forest game to some sort of hearing around the betting scandal, which seems a bit mad. I did see another story saying that they'd agreed to do it as a Teams call or a Zoom call, but so he wouldn't have to fly there. But apparently that isn't the case. Apparently that was nonsense. Right, so let's have a look at the lineup. I know Spurs have got 1 or 2 injury problems, but let's face it, they're going to play the same way no matter who they've got available. It's not an injury situation like they had last season, where they had 10 or 12 injuries. Their entire first team got injured. Son is there. I think the excellent left back is playing. They've got a couple of good centre halves. But I think, like us, no matter how good their defenders are, they're going to spend a lot of the time pushing up the pitch anyway. Right?
Well,
yeah. So let me just bring up the old thing. This is how this is what we did just before. I think this is likely to be the team, but who knows? It wouldn't be the first time we've been surprised.
I don't know if we've got it right yet this season, Cal.
No.
Well, we don't. But it's always. I think at the moment, you know what? It seems likely that this has to be, the lineup. It has to be. I can't see it changing. And the only difference I could see there is perhaps maybe a slight change in position, possibly. But aside from the lineup, that for me is odds on that's going to be our lineup. Could be wrong, but that's what I think it will be as well.
Yeah, so we've got Kudus, who's been travelling, Paqueta, Antonio have been travelling. These 2 have been travelling. So all 5 of those have been travelling. And then these 5 have had a nice rest. And Areola has had an even better rest, because he hasn't even trained, because he's just been, well, probably has trained. Probably caught a few balls in training, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like the, who's that third keeper we got, the one that we signed, Wes Foderingham. He's like the French team's Wes Foderingham, isn't he?
French Foderingham, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he is. So can you see any other alternative to this team?
I mean, of course, there are alternatives. It's whether or not we think that Lopetegui is going to go with that. But I can't. I don't think he's going to. I just don't see him changing it, mate. I really don't. I think obviously there is one change in there in terms of Rodriguez coming in for Alvarez, right? I think Souček has to start. I suspect that Paqueta will still play because, again, like I say, every single week we know that he's got the ability to, turn a game on its head. So maybe that could happen. Maybe they might swap things around and get Kudus in the 10 and put Paqueta out on the left. That could happen, right? Who knows? I'd like to see that happen. It'd be really interesting to see that.
Could happen as well.
Yeah, it could. Although we don't really see a great deal of that, do we? Let's be honest. Really,
no, we don't. We don't see any of this either, right? So either Kudus or Bowen playing number 10 just don't happen, does it? I mean, Bowen gets the odd shift up front.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think I've seen him playing the 10. In fairness, I genuinely don't. But yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be against playing. But as I said before, I wouldn't be against playing Paqueta on the left because we know he does very well with Emerson. He's got a good partnership with him. Plus, he cuts inside, then he can still create and cause some damage. So for me, that wouldn't be a bad option either. And get Kudus causing a bit of havoc through the middle. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not do that? But I think, other than that, what other options would there be? I mean, you could arguably say Somerville coming in, but when you put Somerville in, then you're talking about dropping one of Paqueta. I just don't see that happening, mate. We've spoken about Bowen going up front. Again, I don't really see that happening unless Antonio's completely knackered from his international exploits this week. I just can't see any other. Who's that? Mavropanos there?
Yeah. I'm just thinking. I don't know what the state of Emerson is at the moment. Is he fit? Right. I think he probably is.
He's been training all week, mate. It's funny because you're not going to swap Kilman or Todibo for Mavropanos, but bloody hell, the way Mavropanos played against England the other day, he was unbelievable. He was incredible, right? So I'll be glad to have Mavropanos on the bench to come on. If we really need to defend the lead, which is hopefully going to be the case later on.
International football, though, Chris, is a lot slower, right?
Of course it is.
Premier League's so fast.
Yeah, but one thing I will say about Mavropanos, when he played against England the other day, he had a proper physical performance, right? And that's what we're going to need him to do, in theory, if he comes on as a sub against Spurs, because that's what you kind of need. Someone's going to throw their body on the line, jump up, be basically there to get hurt if he does, put himself in those positions. And I think he would do. He's that kind of player. I think he likes a physical game. He's a big lad, isn't he, Mavropanos?
He is. So where do you think, I mean, based on what you saw at Ipswich and what you've seen, I mean, there has been some progression for West Ham. It has got better. It's not perfect. There is this, ongoing area of concern down, getting caught out down the left-hand side. That can be easily sorted out by, stopping Wan-Bissaka from following his winger inside. But that aside, what do you think? Do you think we're just going to see exactly the same patterns again, or do you think you might change it around a little bit?
Well, that's the worry, isn't it? That's the real worry, because as I've said every single week, I'd much rather play a flat back four. I've said it so many times. I would, and we obviously did a video the other day with regards to areas which we can be exploited on, and you can be guaranteed that Postecoglou will be telling these players about that. You've got to go and tuck in behind that pocket of space beyond Wan-Bissaka, because there will be. Same with Emerson as well, but particularly on that right hand side. And this is not Wan-Bissaka's fault at all, but I just that really does worry me. And we've been slating Werner many times, and many other channels have slated him, and many fans slate him, and I get it, because we think he's pretty useless.
He's a bit crap, isn't he?
Well, he is, but then we say all these things, and it's going to come back to bite us in the backside, because he's exactly the sort of player, and we're exactly the sort of team that will give a nice little gift to a player like that. So what worries me is that with that pace he's got to burn on that left-hand side, if he gets in beyond Wan-Bissaka, he could create some problems for us, right? I'm not saying he's going to score, but he could create a lot of problems, particularly, cuts into the byline and plays the ball into the likes of Solanke, who actually, when you look at Solanke, I quite like him as a player. I think they've paid way too much money for him, in my opinion. But one thing that he's pretty effective with, Gal, is that he's very good in terms of holding the ball up and bringing others into play. So perhaps the only thing that he's been lacking, well, I say lacking, I think he's still scored about 3 goals this season, which isn't bad. But I suppose the only thing he's lacking is maybe scoring a few more goals. But in terms of his overall play, he's been good this season. So it'll be interesting to see how we defend against him, how we defend against the wide players in particular, as we said. What's his face? Werner on the left-hand side. But also, let's not forget Brennan Johnson, who's been on absolute flames for the last 6-7 games, right? He's scored every game. So there's a lot to be wary of there, particularly in those fullback areas for us.
This is what worries me, because what we tend to do as a tactic, as a deliberate tactic of the Lopetegui system, is force the attacks out wide and not let people through the middle.
Yeah,
that's exactly where Spurs are really strong.
Exactly.
So we don't really want to play into their hands, surely, do we? We don't want to open up. But then again, you're putting reliance on the top quality centre halves that you've got, because that is a job. Closing off those sort of those counterattacks is the job of Todibo and Kilman. That's why they're expensive. Quite quick, can read the game. And they're ball players as well. They're supposed to be the last line of defence. This is not like being stuck with Kurt Zouma and Mavropanos, right?
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, if you're saying in this scenario, our fullbacks are a little bit higher up and they're the last line of defence, i.e. a 2, okay, I think that's too much on them to be defending against those attacking players.
Well, it should be a 2.
Like Alvarez splitting the defence again, coming back and making it a 3, and you've got 2 attacking fullbacks. I don't know.
That's what it should be, but is Alvarez capable of playing that system after what the diabolical mess he made of it against Chelsea, right? He was awful.
Well, that's the thing, and I just don't want to see this. I don't want to see the fullbacks going too far. I just want to see that flat back 4. I really do, particularly against Spurs, because I do feel that is one of their biggest threats is down those flanks. Okay, the pace that they've got. Yes, I know Werner doesn't score many goals, but he can pose a problem, particularly if you give him 10, 15 yards of space, which we've done pretty much every game this season in the right back area. So we've got to be really mindful of that. But then let's not also forget that you've also got the likes of Maddison, who's incredibly creative. You've got the likes of Bentancur, who's obviously a really good player as well. Kulusevski, he was crap last season. I mean, to be honest, I thought he nosedived massively. But this season, he's starting to come good again. I saw a game the other week, and I think he scored in it. And I think he scored in it, but he looked really good again. So we've got to be careful, because those guys typically like to get wide. So we really need to be mindful of that. So in my opinion, it would be a bit suicidal to basically do that system.
You're scaring me a little bit. You're scaring me a little bit, all right? Because
I'm just saying it as it is, mate. But
a few weeks ago against Chelsea, you did actually predict that Sancho would turn, after all these years and months, it turned from shit to actually pretty good. And he tore us a new one against Chelsea, didn't he? And Werner, he was good before he went to Chelsea, believe it or not. He really was. And when he came back after being at Chelsea, he came back to England, started playing for Spurs. I had the misfortune to be at the Man United Spurs game at Old Trafford last year, because I was doing corporate up there. Pity it wasn't a West Ham game. But I think that was his first game back. And I was expecting to see someone on fire trying to prove a point. To say he was fucking average would be dressing it up, right? That would be praising him a bit too much. He was awful. He was really awful.
Well, mate, his biggest asset is his pace, in my opinion. I mean, I know when he was playing in the Bundesliga for Leipzig, he was pretty prolific. He scored a lot of goals prior to coming to Chelsea. It didn't work out for him at Chelsea, but I don't think he's as, I don't want this to bite me in the arse, right? Because I can see this happening, but I don't think he's as clinical as perhaps I initially thought he was prior to coming to Chelsea.
But that's the problem. He's not clinical at all. He's sloppy on the ball, right? He's got all the pace in the world, but what's the point in that if you can't control the ball, if you can't do something with it?
Well, in fairness, he can control the ball. It's his finishing is crap. So I think with Werner,
it's his finishing and his final ball, right? It's what he does with it. It's what he does with it. His decision making is awful.
Well, as I say, I still think we need to cut off that, cut him out that game really by playing Wan-Bissaka in a fullback position that he's actually more accustomed and used to, as opposed to playing a little bit further up the pitch. I just don't want to see that. I don't. And I think, you know what? Again, Spurs like to play a high back line. I just want our attacking players now, midfield players, to go out and attack Tottenham, right? I just want to go and see that this weekend. I don't want to see.
Where do you think our joy is going to come from this weekend?
It's a good question, because Spurs. Well, I think
Kudus was massively improved in that last game, right? Yeah. And so was Bowen, and so was Antonio, but he's going to be knackered now. But
I think, look, we need to exploit their high defensive line. That's for sure, right? And they're going to be saying the same thing about us, particularly within the fullback areas. For them, or for us, shall I say, in terms of trying to beat Spurs, I think we're going to rely heavily on the likes of Kudus. We're going to rely heavily on Antonio to be nice and physical against their centre halves. Absolutely. So we can bring some of our faster players into play, but we're going to have to move on a transition bloody quickly. That's the thing. We're going to have to counter them as quickly as we can. That's how we can exploit them, because the problem with this, I mean, Spurs, they do play a high back line, but bloody hell, they've got a lot of pace there. Like, I mean, their defenders are extreme. I mean, who's their centre half there? Is it Van der Ven? I think it is. I mean, the amount of pace that guy's got, that concerns me, because if I'm being honest with you, I do wonder whether if you're in a foot race with Kudus, would he beat him? Maybe. He's that fast. He's really, really fast, Van der Ven. So I think it's about being clever. It's about being clever and trying to get away from him and getting our fast players away. But the reality is Van der Ven's going to have our cards marked with certain pacey players that we've got, because he knows he can go toe to toe with some of them.
Well, perhaps we need to bring our pace merchants off, because we can step it up one level with Somerville and then 2 levels with Guilherme now. We can go maximum speed. Maximum speed. No one's as fast as Guilherme.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's what I've heard. I've not seen it firsthand, but I've heard Guilherme's ridiculous pace. Yeah.
Yeah, lightning. No one's catching him. No one's catching him. Don't care how fast that centre half is. He ain't Guilherme's trying.
Oh, mate, he is fast. He's faster than I even thought. I saw him in a game the other week where I don't know, there was a game the other week where he got an assist and he just came bombing down the pitch. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this centre half doing this, right? He's very good, mate. He's a very good player.
That'd be like a jog for Guilherme. He'd just be taking it easy. It'd be a warm-up for him, right?
Yeah, but Guilherme ain't starting, though, Gal, right? We've got to look at what we're starting with, right? He's not starting the game, and he may not even come on as a sub, right?
Yeah.
But I think, to go back to your question in terms of how we can hurt Spurs, I think it's, really making sure that we get our best players on the ball and we transition and turn the ball over quicker than we typically do, because we faff around with it too long, in my opinion. Sometimes we just need to start moving that ball quicker and attack quicker. I think we also need to be pressing a lot higher up the pitch. Now, I don't against Ipswich we were, granted, but in so many games this season we haven't been pressing high up the pitch. We need to be doing more of that, particularly against a Spurs team that plays such a high back line. It would be criminal not to be pressing hard that pitch, right? It would be. Yeah. I just want to see our back four be a back four. That's the only thing I would like to see.
I just worry about this because I look at that midfield. I look at Alvarez's last performance against Liverpool where he got himself sent off. I look at the relatively half-hearted performances of Lucas Paqueta, and I look at Souček, who excelled against Ipswich, looked like different class, but then it was against Ipswich, right? So you look at that, and I think, look how fucking organised, or how much organising he did, and that was Rodriguez in that last game against Ipswich. He was pivotal to that win because it was the right pace for him for a start, but he was pivotal in his organisation of that midfield. And Paqueta, he gave the ball away a lot, but he was so far out of the pitch, and he actually did it right, linking up with the other players, so he didn't cause any damage. When you've got Alvarez who's also pushing up the pitch, jumping into challenges, and you got Paqueta as well, and then you've got Souček potentially being left behind to defend the back four, that fills me with dread. If you were doing it in such a way, I would have Alvarez just sitting and defending, because he does tend to go forward, and I don't know if that's part of the game plan or if that's just Alvarez getting a head rush of carrying the ball up the pitch, Declan Rice style. But I think, I don't want to see him do that. I want to see Souček be that person, not carry the ball up the pitch. You don't do that, but I want to see him as more advanced than Alvarez. That's what I'm saying. I would like to see Soler given a role somewhere. I think
as a starter. Do you think as a starter?
Not this weekend, but I think we're going to see him emerge because he is special, even though nobody's noticed it yet. He is special. Stats say it, but no one's eyes has said it so far, unfortunately. He will
me, I reserve judgment on him for the moment, right? I just don't know. I've read about him, but until I see him,
no, I'm sorry, Chris. You either call it now, or you can't judge it later. You either call it now or don't call it, right?
Man, I can't judge him based on what I've seen so far. I can't.
I've said he's top draw. I've just put it out there, right? That's what I'm prepared to do. Brave.
Put it out there. He's getting the Ballon d'Or, mate. So now you've got to stick with that. But do you see any version of this game at the weekend where Rodriguez starts?
Yeah, I do, because I don't think he's got faith in Alvarez, and I think he will really enjoy the way Rodriguez split the back, the centre halves in that last game. However, he's going to get badly caught out against Spurs with all that pace running onto him. Fucking hell, he's going to get caught out big time if that happens. So if he's got his head screwed on, no. If he's just putting worries, concerns about discipline of his players versus the actual physical capabilities of his players, then I could see that happening, and I could actually see him being a bit more reserved because it's away from home. He does tend to go a bit more reserved away from home. Don't forget that.
So with that in mind, right, you'd say if he's a bit more reserved for this particular game, see a scenario whereby he drops Paqueta and he's got a midfield three, however you want to play it, of Alvarez, Rodriguez, and Souček.
Maybe, or Soler, who is also a very good organizer in the middle there as well. I think you need someone to be doing that. I don't think Alvarez. I'm a bit. He's not an organizer. When I called him out to be the captain because I genuinely thought he should have been the captain ahead of Bowen. I'm quite happy with Bowen now, by the way. But he doesn't have it in him. He just seems to be in it for himself. I love him for himself. I love him as a player. I want to see last season's Alvarez come back though. I really do. Because at the moment, my mind's started to drift off where I think, fuck, I wanted to leave in the summer, and now he's sulking. Right, that's where my mind is at, and that's why I've really gone off him a little bit. I hope that's untrue, but it's just a hunch.
So how do you think we beat Spurs? You've asked me the question, but how do you think we beat Spurs this weekend? Where are their weaknesses in your opinion? I know we've addressed some of them already, but what do you see as being the key to unlock, that Spurs defence?
Very, very fast transition from defence to attack, hit them on the counter, right? We cannot pass it sideways in midfield and let them recover and get their shape. Otherwise, we're not going to get through them. But if we get Kudus and Bowen, potentially Antonio, running into, getting a run on a few of their defenders, that's going to be, I think there's joy to be had there, and especially if they get at the centre halves, right? If the wing backs are pushed up the pitch or the full backs are pushed up the pitch, if they manage to get at the centre halves, I think that's going to be a difficult task for anyone. I still think Kudus is world class, absolutely world class. So no matter who is running out one-on-one, especially if it's a centre half, I would favour him.
Oh yeah,
over the centre half, right?
Yeah,
and the same with Bowen. He's all he needs to do is think inside. I think that's where it comes from. But if we're going to play this sideways possession game, let them get back and get their shape, then I think it's going to be tough.
You think it's worth starting with Somerville this weekend?
Well, my thoughts on this, right? I would drop Paqueta. I would put Somerville on the left. I would put Kudus in the middle, right? That is what I would do given the choice.
Yeah.
I would also not play Alvarez. I play Soler there instead not in that hole. That's a defensive. I would play Alvarez, but I'd play him. I'd make him sit in front of the back four. That's what. I would do, right.
That's what I want as well, mate. That's exactly what I want. You know that.
Don't let Souček, because when he was at his best last year, Alvarez, it was when he was doing that job on his own without being hindered by someone, playing as part of a two, right? Let him do it by himself. He was brilliant the few times he did that.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing that concerns me when he's on his own there, is that he's being asked to do the job of splitting into the back two, the defence. And then,
he is if you push the other two up, right?
But I don't want that though. I don't want
him sitting in front of the back two in the back four, being the shield. That's what you want. Yeah, not splitting the back two. Yeah.
With him just in front of that back two. That's how I would love to see him play, and just let our other players further up the pitch go and do what we know they can do, right? Rather than them defend. Don't want to see that. I don't. So I'm just hoping that I think this game's going to be really interesting in the sense of, will Lopetegui change his tactics? Not necessarily his personnel and his 11, because I think the 11 kind of pretty much is going to be what we think it's going to be.
Yeah.
But whether or not he chooses to play those advancing fullbacks, because I do feel that if he does, he's really, really opening, giving Spurs, I don't know, a free run there. And I just don't think we should be doing that, right? I really hope that he knows, because for me, this is, and I'm sure most West Ham fans will say the same thing, that'll be just this glaringly obvious area where we can get exploited and hit. So surely he's got to be a little bit more kind of sensible and think, I'm going to have a flat back four against this. That's how I'm going to contend with their attacking threats. I think that's going to work out. So I'm massively interested to see how he's what the tactics are going to be. What's the shape going to be of our defense? What's the shape of our midfield and attack going to be like?
Yeah. I think we're going to concede more than one, but I think we're going to score more than one as well. This is going to be a tough one to call. Let's do that. Let's do our predictions, and because we've been going 34 minutes already, but I think it is going to be, you're right, it's going to be an all-out attacking end-to-end game, two high lines. It's going to be about those moments of I suppose, real sort of technical brilliance and execution. The people that the ones that take their chances, the ones that can make the most of the opportunities that they find themselves in. I don't know, I think scoring a hatful against Ipswich last week gives us more self-confidence in that respect. I'm going to go for. I'm going to call it first, Chris. I'm going to go Tottenham 6, West Ham 7.
I was waiting for you to, because I know you called this the other day.
Yeah,
I said, I don't believe you're going to say this.
I've got to say it. I've got to say it. 7-6 West Ham at White Hart Lane. Best game ever. Best game ever. We've all been buying the DVD.
Okay. So the only thing I will agree with you on that is I do think there's definitely goals in this game. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think it will. I think it's. Yeah. I mean, it's got every chance. It could be a really, really good game, for a neutral. It really could be. So
yeah,
I can see it being like, dare I say it, like a 4-3 or a 4-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go, right. I think I'm going to say West Ham 3, Spurs 2. That's my prediction. Definitely goals in this. It's just going to be like a fucking shootout, mate, isn't it? It really is, because I just can't see either team keeping a clean sheet. It can't.
No chance. Yeah. I mean, there's too much quality in our forward line for them to keep a clean sheet, and vice versa, right? So, yeah, look, 7-6 is obviously a joke. I will have received some horrible comments.
Called it, mate.
You've already mad. You're right. 7-6.
If
you read a wobble, people would be saying in the comments, right?
You can't backtrack on that, mate. You've said 7-6 now.
No. I'm going to go for. I'll go 7-6. I'm going to stick with it, right? But I'm going to go 3-0 as my sensible. As my sensible one. I repeated a 3-0.
I'd take it, but I'd love to get a clean sheet against Spurs, mate. I'd love it. Bearing in mind,
you're dreaming, aren't you? We're not getting a clean sheet against Spurs.
I know that, which is why I said I'd love it, because they've obviously, they've scored in every game this season. But
I'll tell you what, right? You know that Lopetegui takes them out for a meal with every clean sheet. He ain't buying many meals this season, is he? I mean, imagine the sort of meal he'd take them out to if they kept a clean sheet against Spurs. That'd be a proper restaurant, wouldn't it?
Well, you bloody would hope so, wouldn't you? Yeah. But like, as I say, I think if we could keep a clean sheet against Spurs, would be amazing. It would be brilliant.
It would.
Can't see it happening though. So yeah, 3-2 for me. 3-2, but it's going to be a real attacking game, and I think a game that, like I say, will be really good for the neutral. Maybe not so great for us, but if we win it, it'd be amazing at the end. Just hope I can get a ticket for the game. I'm still trying. My boy's going. He's going to love it.
Yeah, at least Fred's got a ticket, eh?
Exactly.
We do have the secret weapon who emerged in the last game as well. Did you see that little show reel of his the other day? Todibo.
Oh, yeah.
He's quality.
Oh, love him. Yeah. I think, honestly, I'm so happy, and I'm so glad with, in hindsight, with what Lopetegui did with regards to kind of slowly introducing him into the team, because I do think that perhaps there was a genuine lack of match fitness there. We saw signs of that in previous games. And so I think he's waited, and perhaps he's done the right thing. He's fooled us all, because why is he not starting? We didn't get it. But you know what? I think now he's just guaranteed. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet, isn't he?
He definitely is. He definitely is. He's a unique player, actually. If he carries on the way he was in that first game, he's a very, very unique player. You don't see many like him, do you?
No, you don't. I mean, the way he was carrying the ball out from defence and bombing up the pitch, it reminded me a little bit of Rio.
Tear to me eye. He's better than Rio.
Yeah. But we ain't seen that for a long time, though. We've not seen that type of defender for a long, long time. That ball.
I've not seen someone get a fucking head of steam and just carry the ball, all the tricks in the world, and just carry it down the wing, and then play a perfect crossfield ball to the other side. Oh my God, really? You ever laugh?
Do you know, that's the one thing I've noticed with Todibo is that actually I've seen him ping some crosses in on quite a few occasions. I remember seeing him doing it against Liverpool as well, and he can ping in a decent cross, mate. He really can.
He had assists, loads of assists. I think 6 assists last season for his French team.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, mate. It doesn't surprise me, because he's got a very good range of passing, and his crossing is very good as well for a centre back.
Oh, he's really good. He's a Rolls Royce. I tell you, he's a Rolls Royce. I mean, God, imagine how much he'd be worth if he carries on where he's going. My God.
Oh, I don't want to think about all of this. Really.
So just keep him away from betting shots and and like uncles who like to put a bet on and stuff like that. Just keep him away. Say no to the betting. No. Anyway, right, we're done. We will see you next time. You're going away. When are you going away?
Next week, Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. I'll sell you beer for the celebrations at the weekend then. So that's all right.
Yeah, I'll be here for the Spurs Cup final, mate. I'll still be here to do the post-match review. So,
It's happening again. It's going to happen again.
It is, mate. I'm
feeling it. Spurs, White Hart Lane this weekend. Don't miss it. See you soon. Come on, your ones. If I could end it, come on, your ones.